Welcome to episode. Well, I'm not really sure what episode it is, but this is Hazard, your host. I mean, you don't remember me. Yeah, it's been a while. I went out for milk. I'm not really sure what happened, but I got the milk and I'm back and I'm here with my friends Dream, Shadow, and
Hi.
Sinzar. What's going on, you guys?
Hello. So, what kind of milk did you get that it took you over a year and the milk is still not bad?
Oh, I didn't say it wasn't bad.
Ah,
It has been a while. I missed you guys a lot, but I'd drop in for an episode.
welcome. You're always welcome back. All right.
Let's,
So this week, it's such an exciting week to be back, isn't it, Hazard? Like, such a fucking exciting week. It's such a unique unit that has no existing framework or blueprint in this game. Whatever. Right? Right, Sinzar? Please tell me I'm right.
I mean, these units wouldn't be terrible if things had passives, but the fact of the matter is, like, the current content that they're used on does not have passive stats. So, yeah, like, breaking by 88% is just bad. It's just all there is to it. It's just bad. And I know Dream's going to come in and be like, but 88's not really bad. But truth be told, it is. It really is. If you're competing at the top ranks, like, it's unacceptable.
Now that both DV and Trials do that, it's, the difference between 88 and 90 is pretty big. And, like, Clash, you kind of just need a unit to do more per slot than these guys do.
Oh yeah, and Clash of Wills, like I would never bring these.
We
In
are
Clash
kind of
of-
jumping ahead a bit, though.
Oh,
So-
sorry.
So talking about Axstar, Hazard, did you pull on this unit?
No, I've been failing at trying to get Roberta, but I will get my Esther EX3 by the end of this frag dungeon.
Very
So
fancy.
my goal will be reached, and yeah, I'm very excited for that. But can't say I have any interest in yet another version of Axstar. How many versions of Fina are we on at this point?
It's got to be like 15 at this point, right?
There's
I
a
don't
whole-
actually think there hasn't been too many new ones.
Oh, it's only the duo
in
unit,
like the
I think.
recent year. But
Wanna
we
say-
are due another one in like a week.
Oh boy, I mean, it was like at 17, I think, when I left.
If you
Remember
also
when I
count
left.
the Dark Fina versions as well, like it is a ton.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah, I'm counting anywhere where Fina appears in the unit sprite. A lot. It's too many.
Yeah. I think there's
Yeah.
more Reigns than Fina right now, though.
The
Because
CG realms still.
technically OG Axstar is Rain, and technically Hyo was Rain. So Rain probably has the most amount, I think.
And so is this new Axstar as well.
It's got the eye patch and the limbs and stuff.
Wait, the new Axstar is also Rain?
It is.
Oh, you're right.
It's one of those
It
versions of them.
is. He's the
Just can't
future
get over
Rain.
themselves.
No.
It kind of works though that he's probably the best breaker. I mean, okay, sorry. If 90% breaks didn't exist, he's probably the best partner for Dark Rain, right? Because it's like Dark Element and stuff.
Yeah, he does have the highest Dark Imperil in the game currently.
I'm so surprised they don't give these guys dark field buffs, or like Roggen before. Why did they just give the light field buffs? That would have made them so much worth bringing, wouldn't it?
Because that's a premium feature that'll be coming in the next week or two.
Yeah, JP doesn't want non-premium units to be worth bringing.
Oh yeah, Hazard. So this is another thing that you might have missed. We have premium units now.
So I realized that I think Esther is a premium unit before I pulled on
Yeah.
her. That was a mistake. I mean, it worked out, but it was a mistake.
Yeah. So
So this
this
game's
is
a mistake.
I mean, coming back
Here
is
we
a
are.
mistake, but we're not holding you against that. Yeah, but so for people that don't know, Axstar is a breaker, and his best breaks is an 88% on his Magnus ability. Or Grandis? Grandis.
It's one use for the fight, so whichever one that qualifies as.
Grandis for JP, Magnus for GL units, but they function the same.
And I don't think he has 88% all breaks. It's only against
Just the defense and spirit.
yeah. So I don't know, man. This is so shit. Like I don't know how you defend this.
Yeah, his actives are once again a clone of Reagan, who's a clone of Edge, who's basically a clone of Tulian, but not quite.
Yeah, it really depends who you talk to. For example, you'll notice quite a few people that play the JP server will like go on the defensive and get like upset when you say this unit is not good because they're like, in JP, he was great. He was on a lot of top teams. The reason is like most JP units are just not great, as you know from the ones coming over, just unchanged. So in a field of bad options, he rises higher than he should. But when you compare him to global units, it's just he's terrible because we have so many better options on global.
JP
This is
also
how I
doesn't have
felt.
any 90% defense breaks.
Yeah, none at all to this day, still none.
Going from the best of a mediocre group to a meh of a really good group is like me going from high school to college and realizing everyone else was just as smart or smarter than me.
Yeah. God, I've like steadily decreased from like top class in like middle of high school to final year of university, barely scraping past.
Yep, this is my life. So if I don't go to grad school, that was a mistake too.
But you did. So you owned up to the mistake and you're living through it. That's great, Hazard. Great job.
Me and my
You're still
therapist
making
have a
new
great
mistakes
time.
though. You're still making new mistakes. So coming back to this fucking game.
I'm just here to have a good time and to reminisce with you guys for a little bit. I'm very disappointed that there's no CG Ramza still. Like, what's going on here? And even Beowulf and Ultima don't have their enhancements or their ability awakenings or whatever they're called. What's going on here?
Yeah. People
Well,
completely forgot about those.
yes, but that really isn't Final Fantasy Tactics hate on the global server. That is just 7-star hate, and that is universal across the board.
Oh yeah.
It's true.
So don't get Sinzar started on this. He will go on a 1-hour dissertation about why this is bad. But basically what's happening right now, Hazard, is that in JP, 7-star units are actually pretty good. There's some of them have really, really good enhancements. Well, they did. I don't know if that's still true.
A few
But-
of them are lucky enough to be usable.
But we don't get that.
Wouldn't make any sense because there's no money in making old units be better.
Mm-hmm. For that exact reason, Global's become very stingy with old unit upgrades.
But global's better with new units. That's the thing. So we're stuck in a conundrum where all of the global units are really good, like Roberta and Esther, and then we have shitty JP units like Axter and Roggen. It's just get ported over with nothing.
So what you're saying is we should just do global exclusive units from now on.
I mean,
I
that
think-
seems to be kind of the winning strategy for people.
Yeah, the last 6 months, I think that's been the only way to play this game.
Except for premiums. That is the thing. It's probably intentional on the JP side that they make these units bad because they're not premium, because it props up the premiums. Like the premium units are fine, like Tifa, Sephiroth, Tyvis, Arn, etc. These all deal relevant damage. They're decent units. I know their kits are incredibly minor, but they're good at what they do and they're worth using because they're premium. It's just like the non-premiums, JP is like, these are cheaper, therefore they're not worth using, so we're going to just... It's kind of like unfortunate the way they do that. So like, JP premiums are good, but JP non-premiums are just not.
The only exception to this rule was Kayn. So
that is true. Yeah, there are a few exceptions. Kayn's a great example of one of the big exceptions.
And Kayn's kit is actually, there's more than 3 abilities, so I like that.
I mean...
Well,
technically, but not really.
It's still a step up from Sephiroth. There exists a world where I think Gumi does figure out how to give us premium units without the premium tag. As in, if we remember way back Summonfest was a huge debacle in JP, if you remember way back. But then they figured out how to deal with that here in GL. But it looks like when premium came into place, like Gumi didn't even have a discussion about how to solve it. They just said, yeah, let's just release it. And now it's either Glex units or premium units that you pull on.
Well, the premium units on Global were helped out quite a bit. For example, all the EX3 stuff has been reduced to EX2. So they're a lot more usable at EX2 as opposed to like JP. For example, like Yuna her staff in peril is a huge deal for her. On global, you can use that at EX2. You can't even use that on tool EX3 on JP. Stuff like that. So it's definitely better on global, but they are still very expensive regardless.
I'm glad that global supremacy has lived on in my absence.
Oh yeah. But don't tell JP players that.
Are there any left? Said Sinzar?
I don't think Sinzar even plays JP anymore. Do you?
I do. I'm like super casual these days. Like I haven't even pulled on a banner since Knights of Grand Shell like 6 months ago, and I'm like behind on like 6 trials in JP because they're completely
like
insane now.
350k lapis on JP or something, don't you?
I do, yeah. JP is very generous. We've been talking negative about JP. JP does have its perks. Like it is super generous. So yeah, by barely even playing, I've got 350k completely free to play. So just because I'm not pulling, and they just keep flooding you with login rewards, etc. That's what JP does. So there are good points. But yeah, the content on JP has been pretty bad. Like I mentioned, the trials have been a train wreck. I haven't even done them because I can't do them because they're insane. And yeah.
Well, let's go back talking to the units. So,
Shadow,
his
the only
TMR,
one trying to keep us on task here.
his TMR is a Tulian variant, but dark, right?
Yep.
It's exactly what it is.
Ready in peril can only be used by debuff attack units. Yeah,
And his STMR is also a similar story, I imagine, then.
yeah, it's the same as Reagan's, but with TDH instead of True Dual Wield.
And his card is absolutely trash.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my god, there's nothing redeeming. I guess the only redeeming feature is that, if there is any, is that he's probably the best Dark Impeller. But that's such a small thing.
That is his role as a unit.
Saying you're not a fan of Demon Killer, like we never have Demon Killer on anything, right? I mean, it's completely like irrelevant. I'm kidding. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Like the thing is, it's a 145 Dark Imperil, which is certainly the best in the game. But the next best is 135 on units that just do a lot more than him. So a bunch of units have 135 Imperil. So the question becomes: is he worth an entire party slot just for 10% higher Imperil? And almost always the answer is going to be no. It's better to go with that 135 Imperil from like a good unit and then add like another dedicated serious DPS to the party instead.
Because it's like you can kill it slightly faster, but it almost never matters in the grand scheme of things. You can always find a better unit, someone more versatile.
Well, kill speed and like max damage does matter, but you can usually get other units that add more to your total damage per slot.
Does his damage matter? Like, I guess it's the same to Roggen as in it's completely worthless.
It's actually slightly better than Reagan and Edge because he's naturally TDH instead of True Dual Wield, but it's still very like mediocre. Like you can supplement your main damage with it, and it'll be like a somewhat noticeable amount, but it's still like far less than even half of an actual good damage dealer.
It's really bad.
Listen, I told you this is the most exciting week to have Hazard back.
No. I mean, I could talk about all the trials I've tried to catch up on, and how
we have a spot for that. We have a slot for that. Don't worry about it. But there's one more thing that we kind of need to talk about, or two more things, and then we'll go to that Hazard. There's a whole like hour left just for you.
I'll leave it up to you then.
Gumi has left us with nothing. The other thing that happened this week is Axar and Soul EX enhancements, which were actually early, Sinzar tells me. I thought they were late, and that's why they were so shit.
I mean, when I say early, they're about 2 weeks early. These came towards the end of the return event in JP, so they are technically early. But it seems like they swapped them out. What we should have gotten this week is Noctis and Arden crown abilities and EX skill upgrades and all. It seems like Gumi skipped them or delayed them and put these in their slot instead, so they can say, "Hey, we're still doing crown enhancements. We gave you some for the the March month." But yeah, so they swapped them out with the bad versions of crown enhancements. So like Saul and Axstars are not good, whereas Noctis and Ardens would have been great and meta relevant if they had come out today. So it depends when they come out.
How strong are they? comparison?
They are pretty close to Kane. They are not as good. They're behind him, but pretty close. Like I think Noctis would outdamage Esther potentially, depending on killers and all that. But just on raw damage, I think Crown the Noctis is like about on Esther's tier, maybe not out, about the same.
Is
So
that-
basically, top of the
Is
pack.
that with the Ricard gear later on or not though?
Oh no, without with the
Oh,
with the
okay.
Ricard's gear, all the Dragoons go completely insane. But that's still months away.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is, I mean, we're kind of going ahead, but this whole batch was like. Sorry, 1 second.
I know this sound.
It makes sense that these two are like packaged in with the return storyline. So like,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a thematic thing, I think, as
Yeah.
well.
It
so I
is,
feel
yeah.
like we can't get too mad about them about the swap in order, but
Yeah, that's true.
There's also a weird thing where in JP, suddenly the crown upgrades get really good, starting from Noctis, Arden, and then Fury and Snow. Like, that whole batch of 4 and then the next few are so good. I'm just wondering what Gumi does with it.
I wouldn't really call Snow's good.
no.
You're probably
Like,
thinking
so
of Snow's
good,
EX upgrades and all. Those are amazing, but the
Oh
actual
yeah, his EX
crown,
upgrades.
but the actual crown is like kind of whatever.
Okay. So I'm thinking of his EX upgrades.
It's funny though, our standard for a crown being so good translates to actually usable.
Why did they even bother with this crown business in the first place? Is my question.
It's ability awakenings for envy-based units, but they wanted to like make it more expensive again instead of the materials being trivial. Except this time they kept them expensive.
I think the crown system is amazing. I love the idea of really powerful upgrades that are super selective that you have to pick and choose. You can't like ability upgrades are kind of whatever because like everyone that actively plays can do every single one released. Like there's no choice there. But having crowns where you only have like 8 crowns and like 10 units worth using them on, that's a really cool choice. And you can pick and choose the good ones. The problem is you may have 10 options for crowns and 8 of them are garbage and 2 of them are worth doing, like, Rain or maybe Madame Adele. And all the rest are just complete and utter trolls. And that's the problem.
Is there even a reason to do Rain anymore?
Not really. I would say Roberta pretty much benched Rain, although people on the latest Dark Visions, that all the top scores were using Rain crowned over. Actually, they were using him with Roberta. They were using them together.
If you
But,
want to really, really min-max, you still use Rain, but it's like the super expensive whale option, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going back to the topic at hand, Awakened Dragon Axstar and Soul Neovision, their crown upgrades are shit, and you shouldn't waste resources on it. Yes, do you all agree on this?
Saul's are technically, they bring him to like slightly behind the meta. Like he's certainly not top, but he's like at EX3, a crown Saul does a 300x LB. He's got a natural 300% focus buff included. He's got like between 8 and 9,000 magic. Like technically speaking, Saul is okay. Is he worth 4 crowns? I would say absolutely not. But they're still a good upgrade, just not worth the cost. Axstars are terrible.
Yes, I think that's the problem in general. Like, if a crown upgrade is gonna be this expensive, it needs to be outstanding and not just passable.
Exactly.
And it needs to remain that way for actual like a decent amount of time.
And sadly, the ones that are, the Noctis, the Ardens, and Furians, their crown upgrades are probably never coming in GEL because it's too good.
Or they're coming late. For example, the example I used, Madame Adele, her crowns were something like 7 months late on Global. And when they finally came out, like because they were so late, she was even still technically kind of worth using in some scenarios. She's still kind of relevant. It's just they were like, because it was a good crown upgrade, they delayed it 7 months. And that's the problem. So Arden and Noctis might be coming in like October.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think it probably won't be that bad, but it's like, I think what they might be kind of trying to do is get out any of the new units that do something similar first. Like, Adele waited until after Graph came out as an elementless skill finisher, like her, and then I guess Noctis and Arden can't be before like Kain and Roberta being Dragoons.
Roberta
yeah.
doesn't even do main. Oh wait, I guess her main damage is from jumping.
Her main non-clash damages.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, those are the EX upgrades, and the Chronicle Battle is a thing. And I think the only thing that's worth really is for Dark Rain. You kind of get like 10 or 20 more additional mag if you use TTW. I think that was the math on the Chronicle accessory.
Oh, you mean the Farming Chronicle? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not very impressive. It is technically his best in slot, though.
But it's free 1,000 lapis, so everyone should do it anyways. And the rise for ticket summons. So
I also think it's worth noting that this is our first like 10-stage chronicle with the insignias and stuff that's time limited. It's not permanent like all the other ones by the looks of it.
yeah, it does have a time limit. You're right. But if you clear it, you should still be able to build all the required.
It's like you don't really have to grind it or anything.
Even I
Oh
do.
yeah. I actually had a really high bonus, but just for the comparison, after clearing each stage one time with my high bonus party, I think I had like 3,000 extra insignias after maxing both the items. So yeah, it's super easy to farm on global.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure I didn't even know that there were bonuses on that, and I still got it.
See?
I mean, like it's 7k to max both the equipments, and even purely just the mission rewards give you almost 5k.
I think we had those coins from a previous one too, because I already had a bunch, and I still have almost 3k left over after crafting it.
Yeah, it's the same insignias that were available earlier, I think.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know that.
It's the 55 magic thing, right? It's let's see.
Yeah, it gives flat magic to Dark Rain.
Void Cloak, 55 magic, and then he also gets a flat magic 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, then I maxed it out. It's +3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was really easy.
Yeah, the other one's the Master's Gauntlet.
All right, so now we're at the real meat of the podcast episode, because now I'm gonna ask Casser what the hell he's been doing since he's been back.
Well, there's also one more thing you sort of like overlooked is the Wicked Weapon, I guess, the EX battle for the Chronicle.
That's so easy though.
It is, technically speaking, but there are a lot of people that are having problems with it in 4 turns. It is, in my opinion, pretty easy, but I guess it depends on the power level of your account.
Yeah, I was able to do it. I think I used Esther, Ling, and I can't recall if I had Celis or Runda. I can't remember which one, but I did the first day. It was tough. For me, I haven't played for a long time, so I have all
actually
the
got
good gear.
around to trying it yet.
Reem,
Runda is becoming a low-key MVP for all these little things.
Ling is phenomenal. I can't believe how good she is.
Yeah. After
not Ling,
9 months.
Runda.
Runda also really freaking good. 85% for 3 turns. Mitigation for the whole party.
I said it was a super nice free unit to get.
Yeah, but Ling is really, really good, and then Roberta came out and kind of outshines her.
Don't remind me. I can't pull
I think
Roberta.
They're fairly different niches.
That reminds me. Has or Shadow, something else you might want to mention is new news is the weekly or the monthly bulletin came out yesterday.
Oh yeah, that did come out, eh? It got people excited about a theoretical for Evia.
Yep. Fire, let's see. The cow is fire, light, and ice. Human Reaper.
So ice and light are both kind of her elements.
And even Human Reaper was her part of her killers.
And fire, obviously, if you pulled Roberta, will be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use
Fire has been a weakness for like
ever
8 of the 10 clashes or something ridiculous.
I feel like they keep putting in fire because Louise and Ling exist. That's my theory. Louise and Ling are just so fire focused, or not fire focused, but they're so good with fire. Even Human Reaper, Ling shines with Human Reapers, right?
Whereas I literally don't think we've had a Water Week clash yet. Maybe there was one as like a secondary weakness.
There's been no primary, but yeah, we definitely had a Water Week at some point. I remember thinking I was gonna take Nicole to that clash that I didn't, but I
think
considered it.
Might have been Tiana's one.
Could have been. I don't remember.
Neither. But yeah, the elements are certainly not created equal in Clash.
With ice, we can bring Celeste again probably, and not feel like a waste of slot like this cow.
Yeah, the other thing, the monthly bulletin tells us there's no DV news, which means it's up. I mean, it was already kind of known that we'd be getting the
Vision
return
World?
event, Vision World, yeah. So that's Dark Reigns one.
What exactly is Vision World?
It's like DV, but there's also some craftable equipments, and they're generally like the structures shaken up a little bit more with like the stages and battles. It's generally slightly better DV with more flavor.
Interesting.
It's also gives more rewards. As in,
It's not like a massive improvement or anything, but they're pretty decent.
Yeah. Nothing to hit home about, but at the same time, it's still something.
Well, that sounds exciting, and I'm so excited. Have I told you guys?
Hopefully, you're still around by then, so to experience. Because
You certainly sound so excited.
the thing about Vision World that I get excited about are the unique bosses. Like Secret of Mana's Vision World was fantastic.
Oh, let me let you down easily. That is not the case this one. It is just all recycles from Brave Exvius crap.
Oh my god.
Yeah, most of the collaboration Vision Worlds are awesome because it does use custom bosses from the game itself, the music, etc. This one, like, other than the background, you would never know it's a Vision World. It is just a Dark Visions. It's the bosses are recycled, the music is all recycled, the crafting is pretty bad. It's a Vision World in name only, basically.
All right. So can I get back to my original topic of asking Hazard what he's been doing since he's been back? Yeah.
In the game itself?
Yeah.
Let's see. So
I'm kind of just curious.
Oh, it's funny. I came back because I was going through my photos on my phone and deleting a bunch of screenshots from FFBE that have lagged for years, and it kind of got me feeling nostalgic. And I was like, I've logged in a couple times since I quit, just to log in and just I don't know, pull once and then delete the game again. So download it again and open it up, and then I saw Esther was coming, and I was like, I'll pull for Esther, and I ended up doing a whole bunch of story. I got 3 Esther in the first lap. The lapis I had.
Jeez.
Nice.
Literally the first poll, the first unit on the first poll was Esther, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Welcome back.
Hazard luck is back, and then I spent 120k more lapis. I exhausted every challenge, every story event, or every story that I hadn't completed, which is most of season 3, which is awful, by the way. Holy crap, that was awful. I skipped.
Everyone agrees.
Skipped the entire story except where Bruce dies, and I was like, oh, that's sad. And then I moved on, and I didn't pull another Esther, so I got to EX2, and then I had an extra one, so I will get it. I was 70 fragments short, so that's just
perfect.
Just enough, unfortunately.
I'm only just getting my EX2 from the end of this shard dungeon.
By the way, you know how the first guaranteed one is at 20 tickets or whatever it was, and then the second one is at 28 more tickets.
Yeah.
I got to 25 out of 28. Didn't have and ran out of lapis and story.
Oh, no.
It's like, all right, well, that's all she wrote, boys. So that was it. And then I started doing old trials, and after I did everything else, I decided to try Dark Visions and Ling and Esther and Dark Rain, who I also pulled one of. Made that really fun and easy, actually, and I enjoyed it for the first time ever. And then I also like the format more where you get like you get a realm that says, here's 2 elements you can use, and then it's the same boss twice. It's just like slightly harder or slightly tankier or whatever
Yeah.
the second time. So I don't have to change gear as much, which has always been my biggest complaint, of course. And having to reset my game 1,000 times trying to chain effectively. But with Bolting Strike or the EN one, fairly easy to chain, and even CWA is fairly easy to chain. So I had fun, and then I did Clash of Wills. I got to like level 80, and then I had to ping Sinzar because I had no idea what I was doing, and I couldn't just face roll the boss anymore. So Sinzar was very, very helpful. Helped me get to and clear level 99. That's where I stopped. Not farming anything. It was cool. I actually liked Clash of Wills. I kind of like the concept of it's the same battle, but it gets progressively harder. So I don't know. I enjoy that. I think it's a good system, good event.
So I had a similar issue with you, except when I pinged Sinzar, I think I wasn't as prepared. But what I do enjoy, I did enjoy that process because when I got to 87 is when I pinged to Sinzar. By the point that I did ping him, I was like 3 days into it trying, and like you start figuring things out. It's like doing a trial. Like if you go in there blind, not watching any Sinzar videos, like you start figuring out these like weird little things as you do it. But it does get frustrating though.
Yeah, it was
What
tough.
was the? Oh no, I was just gonna ask, what was the biggest like whiplash or like new thing that like shocked you?
Yeah, I guess I'd forgotten how worthless most of the units I was pulling was, because I think I had 18 Neovisions when I left, because there's that quest you get 20, 50, 70, whatever, all the way to 100. I think I had 18. Now I got all the way to 100, and I'm like, did I really get 100 Neovisions? Like that seems like a lot. Like I don't have many useful units, and I went through, and sure enough, I do. Most of them are just freaking terrible. But yeah, I ended up with a pretty decent team, I think, but a lot of them are just really bad. It's just it's just really bad. I've pulled 4 Napi, 4 of them. Got more Terra Neovisions. I got Esther's on her banner. Terra's okay. She's okay. She's good for
Yeah, but
Now that we're pretty far into the NV era, it's much the same as like 7 stars were, where just
yes.
a lot of old ones just aren't good.
It reminded me of that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like most of these units are not going to be good. I ended up using Summer Sniper Physalis the other day. Got Semi to build. Obviously, he has one. Because it was the dumb trial. The what's that dude's name? Hold on, I'll find it. It's the guy that does the thing. Armor of Oppression.
was it a map? Oh, okay.
Take your time, Father.
But this time he has it's like water magic weakness instead of normal physical lightning and stuff weakness. It also has lightning weakness, but I didn't have a lightning magic user. So I tried Vivi. I tried to chain Thundagas together, and that was not going very well. So I got the boss to 40%, but it just took way too long.
Yeah, for Vivi, you never chain him. You got to reflect him. That's the only way to use Vivi.
Yeah, so that was my best shot, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do something different. Let me try this Physalis unit. And she did okay. Emmy's was like super mega geared out, and I got the super limit burst one on like turn 3, and it whacked it. So yeah, that was fun.
Technically, Physalis, like some of Physalis, is still like top 5 mages. Just
Good.
Yeah, but top 5 mages behind who's the other 3? The jump is pretty big, I think.
Yeah, like Rain and Angela are the actually decent ones, and then you're like by number 3, you're already getting into mediocre.
I saw this Angela, and it basically looks like Medina again. Is that basically the case?
Oh, you mean like aesthetically or kit wise?
As more aesthetically, but just kind of like an all-around mage kind of thing.
Oh, Angela is exceptionally powerful on global, with the disclaimer that she is probably the most annoying unit to use on global, at least to her full potential. Because you got to like give her a ton of stuff externally. You've got to entrust her like every turn, and you've got
Or
to
LB 6 times.
yeah, and she got to stack her like was it 6 times you said Dream? So yeah, it's like she is really a pain in the ass to use, but also extremely powerful if you're willing to go through the headache.
Yep, that's
Technically,
not a unit for me.
technically after variants update, she will do very, very well. But that's true for a lot of the top 5 mages, I imagine. So
Assuming that we just get the variants exactly the same as JP, and assuming you give her the support needed, like for example, premium Dark Vina coming up. Yeah, I think she's like the literal number 1 DPS in the game with variants. So that'll be interesting to see how
but
Gumi
would
handles
she
that.
out damage Ibarra in Cal? Because I think Ibarra in Cal, even with like, Ibarra in Cal also requires all that shit bullshit. I think, if I
I'm pretty
remember.
sure yes, because Ibarra is naturally a dual wield unit, and she's even as a dual
Oh,
wield unit, she has the most garbage gearing in the universe. Like it is impossible to gear her. So trying to force double hand on Ibarra on top of her bad gearing is just not going to happen.
I see. So it's a technicality thing where Angela will shot up in the charts. As soon.
Ibarra does
Oh
have
yeah.
natural whip access, so like the Asura Dark Fina whip
Oh
might be
okay.
enough to make Ibarra's gearing okay. Because
Could
on
help absolutely.
EX, she actually has some passive LB. Ibarra needs a lot more in the way of like external buffs, namely an LB damage buff.
Yeah.
But yeah, her raw mod at max morale is kind of insane.
Speaking,
It's just that people don't really use her, but yeah, technically she probably has the best amount of
Yeah.
like damage. Sorry, go ahead, Tazu.
I was also
Part
going
of
to
the reason
say,
on why she hasn't been used much, just quickly, is because she's hardlocked to dark, and there's only been like 2 clashes that have been dark weak.
I was going to say I got Kresnik from doing Cow. I got enough of those little game drop looking things. I can't remember what they are.
Yeah, mixed drops.
My lingo is still pretty poor, so that was I think the biggest whiplash shadow was actually coming back into Discord, like hearing people talk about stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what that is. I didn't know what crowns were. I didn't know what SLB meant. I didn't know. I could kind of guess what amplify meant, but I hadn't really done it before. I hadn't really heard about it before. So, anyways, stuff like that you guys were talking about in Discord. I was like, I don't know any of this stuff, but I was gonna say Kresnik reminds me of Dr. Aiden in a way. I think thematically a little bit, but he's got the coolest kit, and so I'm really glad I picked him with my little whatever currency. It's really freaking cool. Can't wait to get him to
He's a
His-
really
shift.
nice unit to have around for Clash.
I know
Awesome.
you like healers. Yeah, his Brave Shift
Especially
sprite is
male
probably the best
healers.
sprite in the game. So yeah, I'm in love with Kresnik as well. Okay, so Hazard, what was the heart? So I guess I asked you about the Whiplash, and I was gonna ask what was your favorite unit. It looks like it was Kresnik. Was there anybody else that you were like, oh shit, I really like this guy?
Ling is amazing. He just does everything. So I've been kind of using her as a passive evade provoker. Passive provoke. Yeah.
What? Hazard using evasion? Oh no.
It's not a tank. Makes sense. I've only been opposed to the AOE cover because that makes no sense logistically. Not cover your party while dodging, otherwise it hits your party. You can dodge individual bolts of lightning at your face. That's thematically consistent. Yeah, I can hear. Muspel's probably rolling in his grave right now, hearing this. But
He's not
yeah,
dead, you know.
well, he's dead to me. He'll
I
probably
don't.
listen to this and come harass me.
Yeah, I don't think Muspel is dead, so you don't have to worry about him being dead.
He won't hear this regard.
He lives within an hour of me. I can find him if I need.
Oh, that's a threat.
By the way, so Ling is really cool. Not only does she do like great LB fill stuff, and she can break pretty decently. She can do some nice mitigation, but she also just has some really awesome freaking wave shift abilities where she can imbue 3 different elements. She can do 150% killers and reduces damage to those same. I mean, she's ridiculous. She's just ridiculous. Like how does this unit exist? She's fantastic. She's fantastic. Has she been this good since she came out?
Oh yeah,
Has
and she's
she
been out for
super
almost a year
powerful?
now.
She was one of
Still
the
kicking it.
anniversary units last year.
Yes.
It was her and Louise. They were both the anniversary units. So they were like kind of designed above the curve, I think, because they were anniversary units.
Yeah,
And
Louise is
for the
also really
debut of
good.
Clash.
They're not only good in Clash though; they're so good in DV, especially Ling.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I've used both. I have EX1 Louise that I pulled, and then I have EX1 Ling, just from random pulls, off banner stuff, going for Esther.
So, out of curiosity, Hazard, assuming you've looked at the upcoming stuff, is there a unit you're looking forward to from the JP schedule, or have you not not even looked?
I haven't even looked, so you tell me. I know. I've heard the Knights of Grandshelt are pretty good. But is there something else that we should be looking forward to?
I mean, the Knights of Grandshelt are good and all, but people are really hyping them more for like the power level than the actual unit nostalgia. I was talking like more like nostalgia stuff. Like, are you looking forward to Laguna coming from FF8, etc.? But you've not even looked, so never mind.
No.
Okay, but
Sorry to
Cog,
kill
you have to remember, Sinzar, it hits twice. That's
That
the
is-
meme going around.
That is true. So it's going to double our power ceiling on global pretty soon.
Yeah.
What is
Make it
COG?
Knights of Grandshelt acronym.
Wait, I was thinking COG. That's why. That doesn't make sense. Who else is? The problem is we've already gotten so many units from each of the games at this point. I mean, except for like 11 and 14, we haven't really gotten
Yeah,
much. But
most things are like new copies of old units.
Oh yeah, I think from the future stuff, the only new units are the FF8 units. Laguna, Kyros, and Ward have never had a unit yet, so they're new. But all the rest are like just reprints of already units we have. Like another Emperor, another Vaughn, another Ash, another Titus, etc.
oh my
unit.
gosh, another Titus? We've
Oh,
already had so
Ricard's
many.
new. Ricard's new.
Oh yeah, Ricard. That is his first time. That's true. Although he's like a super side character in the actual game itself, but it is true. It is his first time on Brave Exvius.
I don't
Technically,
remember which game
no
he's
one
from.
played FF2, so no one would know who Ricard is.
Yeah, why?
Well,
Yeah, I was
just
going to say,
proved
does
it.
FF2 have main characters?
And 8 is one of the only ones I didn't play from the pre-PlayStation 2 era. Oh, I mean, I played like 15 minutes of it, and then I got killed by a T-Rex or something, and I was like, "Oh, this is boring. I'll just do something else."
In the training grounds.
Yes, I got worked by some T-Rex. I'm like, I'm not doing this right, and I got to return this game in like 2 days, so I'm gonna move on to something else.
It's kind of
FFA
sad that
experience.
Ricard is forgotten. This is a bit of an anecdotal thing, but I think he's probably the first Dragoon in FF history. It's not Kane. It was Ricard Highwind, but he's forgotten. So
Yeah, well, he didn't really have like much of a role in the game. Like, you find him and then like he's in the game for like 30 minutes and then he's gone again. So like he was like a really side character.
in the remakes, he's given a bit more of an expanded role. But yeah, you're right.
That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Who would ever stand for a very minor side character in a game and put them as their avatar?
I mean, Blank was a pretty major character throughout 9. He was a side character. He wasn't even a part. Well, he was a party member for a little
He was
bit.
technically frozen, or it's not frozen. Sorry, he was stoned. So there's that.
He was a major stoner.
No, you're right. He was the one that was petrified in most of the game. Marcus was the one that was like the side character, but kind of there and not there. I don't know. It's been a while.
Blank was a stoner.
Someone else.
Blank was the reason that FF9 lasted longer than like 20 minutes of gameplay because he saved the entire party with his self-sacrifice. And then they unstoned him later, so all was well.
That's true.
They had the
Yeah.
best scene in that entire game, which was the dueling competition with the beautiful Spanish music in it, flamenco music, wonderful stuff. They actually did the vision card of that scene in FFBE. I can't remember what it's called, but they have that vision card of that scene where Zidane and Blank are dueling in front of the
And
Queen.
pretty soon, you can set that with the exact song you're talking about as your home screen with that music. Once we get that update later.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
This
one of
is
the JP
coming.
updates. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
got
can.
a big UI overhaul that does some cool stuff.
And the
Okay.
song you're talking about is that is the song linked to that card.
I'm so excited for that. And that's really awesome. Oh, I also pulled Vivi. I love 9, so I pulled Vivi, the new Vivi. Pure-hearted Vivi.
Was so strong. I don't know how well he does somehow.
Is it
He
Doomsday
doesn't do
Shenanigans
great.
again?
Oh, so you should be looking forward to Marilith then, Hazard, because that makes VV like top tier, kind of, sort of.
Kind of,
Yeah, I've
sort
got
of.
Vivi and then whatever super fast Zidane, whatever he's called.
Lightning Fast Zidane. He was
Yes.
really good for a period, but not so much anymore.
He was a pain in the
Seems-
ass, is what he was.
Why was he a pain? He seems to have like some, Mirage shenanigan stuff, but he
Yeah,
seems more support unit than damage unit.
Well,
like
At
his
least
main
his base
thing
form.
was damage, but you have to jump through so many hoops to use it properly. Like he needs every type of buff externally, basically, has to stack his shift LB 3 or 4 times to max like stacks on it, and his shift has a 4-turn duration with a 5-turn cooldown, and his LB costs
gosh.
80, and he has barely any active fill in his skills.
Sounds like you had personal experience with this stream.
Just a little, mostly on calculation sheets.
you miss those days, Hazard, when it was like me against all the Raiders saying Zidane is amazing, everyone else saying he's garbage because he's too hard to use. I'm like, no, but he's worth it.
Yeah,
Like,
if you've
I
got
can
the
admit
time and
he's
energy.
good, I just hate him.
Yeah, no, Sinzar's always had the patience to do that kind of stuff. I'm like, if I have to click more than 3 buttons per turn, like it's over. I'm not doing this. Merc
Even for
Ramza was my
Zidane?
favorite unit. It has to be like if it was Ramza or Delita, it required that much, I'd do it because it's Ramza and Delita. But Zidane's kind of right on the border, I think, for me. I love Zidane, but he's not even top 5 character in that game to me.
Zidane's value came from his LB in the beginning. Now I don't think it's worth as much to spend 5 turns singing. So, I mean, before it was.
Oh, the STMR. Well, it was still used long after Zidane was used because we just didn't have a good LB buff access. But these days we've got like lots of sources, and especially with Roberta now for like super easy 300%. Like I don't think Zidane's STMR is pretty much ever going to be used again.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fully irrelevant by now.
This thing is ridiculous. I'm going to the STMR. It's like
I
a
mean,
mega Ramza.
That STMR was like on every single top score team for months and months and months in both Clash and Dark Visions. It was a really big deal for its time.
I'm really glad I skipped all of that, to be honest. I'm really happy about it.
Correctly good choice.
I highly
It was a
recommend
dark
it.
time.
But
You know what's sad?
With the
I just came back and they did their like, hey, it's been a while since you've been back campaign, like 3 or 4 days after I
comeback techniques.
came back. And I'm like, of course, I'm gone for like freaking year and a half. And you wait. I'm actually back. So I got nothing. Reminds me. No, I'm sorry, this is like personal stuff, not like podcast topic, but I have some vision card select kits.
Yep.
So I'm not really sure what to use them on, but that's something you guys can tell me later.
Yeah, we can.
I think still the best value is Louise's vision card, isn't it?
Probably Louise's. Yeah, Louise's, or I guess Ling's. Although Ling's is starting to not be the best anymore because like Roberta's is a lot better.
Options that are better. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because magic options is now just strictly either Louise or Dark Rain, I imagine.
Pretty much.
There's another one. There's this rain card that lowers resistance to large swords and then fire and earth.
Oh, the
And
Leave It
everyone
to Me
seems to have-
card. Oh yeah, that card's amazing.
Where did that freaking come from? I can't find it. I don't know
Oh,
where it is.
It was from a
limited time.
25k banner in January.
Oh, sad
Yeah,
times.
it is gone.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. So if you look at the recent Roberta banner, there's also a limited time fishing card on there as well.
I saw that
So-
one. It looks really freaking good too.
Yeah,
At least for
basically,
Roberta.
they've been doing one of those monthly since January.
I really think they should stick those vision cards to something like Axstar so that people will actually pull on it. But no, they
No.
stick it to Roberta. So people
No, I don't want to pull an X-Star.
I mean, they did
Don't
that
give
for
them
January
ideas.
and February and put them on like the bad units banner, but for March they kind of threw us a bone and gave it to Roberta.
Well, same thing on February. Like it was on Kane's banner, and Kane was absolutely worth
True.
pulling
Kane
on.
was good.
Oh yeah, like I'm so glad they put it on Kane's banner and not what was it, Javi and Leftia's banner that month. Like, ooh, I don't want to pull on them, but that card is
That
like
was
I
start
wouldn't
of
want to
this
skip
month,
that card.
wasn't it?
What was that?
Their banner was the start of this month, I thought, or start of last month technically, because it's April.
Oh, was
now.
it? Yeah, I'm not sure who it was, but
other than Roberta, at least the pattern has been put it on the non-premium JP unit banner, which is usually a bad unit, but not always.
Yeah, like the first one for Tulian. Like I pretty much pulled on the Tulian banner just for the card that Hazard's talking about, because that card is one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. I use that so much. It's so good on so many units.
Very
it is,
useful.
and I think as we're going on, these like global exclusive cards are getting slightly worse because the Roberta card is probably the third best of the three, I imagine.
I mean, technically, yes, it might be the third best. That's only because all three are so good. Like the Roberta special card is still really, really good. But yeah, it is probably the third best of the three we've had. But like, the worst of the best is not really a bad place to be in.
No, not at all. But Hazard, I think the best choice is still Louise's card because our magic cards are still very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at because I already have Lings. That Roberta one looked, or not Roberta, that Louise one looked pretty nice. So,
and I don't think they've updated this for a while. So there's that.
Oh, there's actually two other good options I'd mention it real quick. Is Oliveira's card is just good because it's mostly unique-ish as like the only MP card, which matters for a couple units. Also, the Tulian card, I think, is on there. The actual Tulian himself card, which gives evasion and passive provoke, which is also pretty unique among vision cards. So those might be worth getting.
Kind of look at that. I do have Oliveira somehow. I have that one. I don't know. So it was really good. I've been using that as my like kind of go-to magic card. Unfortunately, is this thing special shop? Item exchange shop. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean you'll get more of those select tickets when you get other premiums to EX1. So
yeah, I've got two. I think already. Here we go. I've got two of them. So Luis is. What is that one? What is that one called?
A crimson colored light.
As a side
note, riveting content.
This is gonna be great for Barrows to edit if he edits because because I'm on push to talk, you don't hear all the background noise that's going on. So if he doesn't use the Craig recording, he's definitely not going to remove all the background noise.
Yeah, I've muted Discord to cough like 4 times as well.
I did warn you guys at the beginning of this that it was going to be a boring topic, so I cannot be blamed.
It was not a boring topic. It was a fantastic topic.
But it's fun to be back. What
everyone wants, which is more Hazard.
Yeah, and we all want more Hazard.
I'm hoping to come on once in a while. I know this is kind of a rare night, and I can't do it during the week, so we'll see. We'll see what the schedules allow. But it's nice just to be back and hang out with you guys again. And I miss you guys a lot, and it's nice to hear your voices. And
likewise,
Dream especially. The last time I saw Dream, she was holding up a sign live on some FFBE stream saying CG Ramza win.
Unfortunately, they didn't invite me back the next year as a result.
Banned for life.
Pretty much.
I don't know if you saw, but last year during the live stream, I posted a poster with your name on. I was on the live stream with your name on it in the graveyard. I'll send you the meme.
Did
I still have it. Yeah.
I gotta
If,
see
if
this.
you remember, my CG Ramsar Witten card also had High Hazard in the corner.
It did. It did have High Hazard in the corner. I was
Good
touched.
times.
Dream, touched, truly touched. Beautiful thing.
And thank God Barris isn't here for that comment.
Well, thank God Barros isn't here. Is something that a lot of people would say.
I was gonna say earlier we were talking about slots. I was like, you guys are slot whores, and I was like, nah. I'm glad Barros isn't here because he would really twist that. So maybe I should not say that. But here it is. So eat your heart out, Barros.
All right. So, any last words, Hazard, for coming back, and hopefully we see you again soonish.
Did want to say I remember not so long ago begging Sinzar to come on our podcast as a guest, and he was like, "I'm not really sure about that. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be great like talking just off the cuff." And here he is, just smoking it every single week. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts, and Sinzar's here, just cooking every freaking week. And so I just want to say how proud of you I am for actually
Well,
taking
Dave.
advantage and doing it because you rock at it.
Thank you. It is usually easier when I've got things to talk about or rant about, as people tell me they enjoy the rants more than the usual stuff.
I do. I love your rants when you're going through some battle. You're like, la, do this, do that. By the way, this is so stupid. And you're like, you just go off this 5-minute tangent as your co-host.
I mean, if there's anything
Favorite
we've
part.
learned in these 6 years, it's that this community feeds on anger.
It's absolutely true. So that's why it draws me back every time.
A
All right.
natural habit.
That's all. Thanks for listening, and that was an episode. Bye, guys.
See you next time.
See ya.